Terence Crawford says that Canelo Alvarez is one of the best boxers, but it's clear that he believes the Mexican champion's weight edge could be used against him.
How does that go down? Just break it down for us a little bit. We want to see it obviously happen.
I ain't gonna break it down to you. You know what I mean? How strategy is leaving with my hand, rolls and everybody mouth dropping.
The possible fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez has become one of the most talked about topics in boxing. With each day that goes by, fans are getting more and more excited about this possible matchup, but both boxers have kept the fans waiting with mixed messages. Although Crawford didn't rule out the thought, he did say that the fight isn't a sure thing instead of making any firm statements. He says that people should wait and see how things go. Things are uncertain right now, and it's not clear when or if this much-anticipated match will happen.
There's loads of things going around at the moment, including a big clash with Canelo Alvarez. Can you tell us what's going on in that situation, and can that happen next?
We shall see, Who knows?
That smile's telling me something else, bro. I think it might be on the line, no?
I'm just saying, man, we can't say it's not gonna happen, we can't say that it is. So, let's all just wait and see.
Crawford talked about a possible fight with Alvarez and said that if it happens, he plans to put on a show that will amaze fans and reviewers. He has an amazing record of 41 fights without a loss and 31 knockouts. Crawford has already shown that he is the undisputed king through his many accomplishments. He believes that his performance in a possible fight against Alvarez would be enough to make a statement. He hasn't said everything about the fight yet, but his track record shows that he's ready for a battle if it comes up.
There's a lot of fights out there at 154, that's interesting me. That interests me. Like I said, the future is bright. The sport is going in the right direction. So we shall see where Terence Crawford leads.
For yourself, I know obviously last fight being in LA under a Riyadh season show. Is it likely that your next fight will be in Saudi Arabia?
Who knows? Like I said, we got to weigh our options and see what makes sense for Terence Crawford and his career.
A fight between Crawford and Canelo, two of the best boxers in the world, would be a spectacle for the sport. However, Crawford would have to move up to 168 pounds to fight Alvarez, which makes the match even more tough. Crawford is eager to start because he thinks a fight like this would do great things for his image. For Crawford, the main goal is to face the best in the sport, and Alvarez is certainly one of the top contenders he would like to square off with. Alvarez doesn't want to win because he wants to be recognized for his skills and name. He views the potential fight as a chance to challenge himself and show he can compete with one of the best fighters in the world.
Strategy is leaving with my hand, rolls and everybody mouth dropping. That's how I can, sums it up in a little bit of your answer right there.
Crawford is well aware of the challenges that come with facing someone like Canelo. The Mexican champion's size and punching power are noticeable factors that Crawford will have to deal with. Despite this, Crawford has met bigger opponents in the past, and his extensive experience in the ring gives him confidence that he can handle these hurdles. The main concern for Crawford would be whether or not he could withstand Alvarez's powerful punches, which have left many fighters reeling in the past. However, Crawford's experience and ability to handle tough situations in the ring make him hopeful that he can overcome these challenges and perform at the highest level.
In the ring, then it'll be an electrifying fight, It won't be like any other fight that he's fought recently. And it'll be a well-fought fight for both of us, I believe.
Any doubt in your mind that you beat him?
Of course I beat him. It ain't no doubt in my mind that I won't beat anybody that I step in the ring with.
Canelo Alvarez has responded similarly, acknowledging that the fight could happen, but he's not actively pursuing discussions just yet. As of now, he's working on his personal life and taking things slowly, but he did say that once the time is right, he would be open to negotiations. According to Alvarez, any serious talks would likely begin in January, signaling that the fight may not come to fruition quickly, but could be on the horizon. Crawford also sees the possibility for an amazing matchup, noting that this fight would be one of the most exciting in modern boxing. However, he is also aware of the physical challenge that Alvarez's size would bring, and the fight would certainly be a tough one.
If I'm easy work, I heard him say I'm easy work. If I was easy work, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want $200 million for Benavidez, and he want $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to his legacy.
Saudi Arabia's involvement in promoting the fight is another key actor in the ongoing discussions. Turki Al Sheikh, who has shown interest in organizing this fight, previously struggled to make progress with Canelo's team. However, it seems that progress is being made, and there is now a better way forward for the potential matchup. Although Crawford is dealing with a small health problem, it's expected that he will be back in action by May, which could be the ideal time for the fight to happen. Al Haymon has already reached out to Canelo's team, and if the right terms are offered, it seems like a deal could be struck.
Social media news floating around saying that you could potentially be negotiating with Terence Crawford directly for a May fight. Any truth to that?
No, I'm working in other things. Now I'm enjoying my family. I'm not talking about boxing yet. So maybe in January we're gonna start doing that.
Crawford has shared that he thinks the reason Saudi Arabia is now more interested in this fight is because both athletes bring something unique to the table. While they are similar, in height, their fighting styles vary greatly. One is faster, while the other is stronger, making it an intriguing matchup from a competitive standpoint. This contrast between the two fighters' strengths has made the fight more appealing to promoters like Al Sheikh, who see the chance in bringing such a high-profile bout to the...
Turkey said he would like to open a line of communication with you. No middlemen, just you and him.
I never say no to business. So if it is a business for me, I'm open to talk, no matter what.
However, the weight difference remains a big hurdle. Crawford, whoever has fought at lighter weight classes in the past, would have to jump to 168 lbs to meet Alvarez. This presents a challenge, and some boxing analysts, like Sean Porter, have expressed concerns about Crawford's ability to take Alvarez's punches over the course of 12 rounds. There is also a belief that Alvarez may slow down in the later rounds, which could give Crawford a chance to capitalize on the opportunity. Porter, who knows Crawford's style and capabilities, has stressed that the fight is much more complicated than simply comparing the fighters' physical attributes. There are nuances to their skills that make it difficult to predict how they will play.
He's the most accomplished fighter in today's sports of boxing, other than myself. And I would just like to, fight another great. That's it. That's all. If the fight, happens, I think it'll be the biggest fight in the sport of boxing today.
Eddie Hearn also weighed in on the situation, saying that Canelo may not be particularly eager to face Crawford because there wouldn't be much respect in defeating a fighter from a lower weight class. Hearn acknowledged, however, that if the financial terms were right, Alvarez would likely be willing to take the fight. The money factor is important, and if the deal makes sense for both sides, the fight could become a reality.
The others say, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So,
despite the possible hurdles, Crawford's success in his recent fights has shown that he's capable of stepping up to bigger challenges. His win over Israel Madoff, in which he moved up a weight class, solidified his place as one of the best boxers in the world. Crawford's status as the pound-for-pound champion only adds to the excitement surrounding a possible fight with Canelo. However, some experts think that Crawford should take some time to adjust to the new weight class before seeking a fight with Alvarez. Teddy Atlas, for example, has suggested that Crawford should focus on his current weight class and allow himself to settle in before taking on a fighter as strong as Canelo.
I don't know. I mean, it's one thing. I mean, I wouldn't think that Canelo watched Crawford on Saturday and was afraid of fighting him at 68. I think for Canelo, it's more about the credibility he gets through victory. I think he's a little bit concerned, having spoke to him in the past, that if he beats a guy that's coming up from 147 to 168, is he really going to get the respect for that? So we'll see. I mean, money talks. You know, if it's the right deal, he'll always take the fight.
There does come a time when you go up too many weight classes. Lomachenko, as great as he is and has been, a great fighter, you know, he went up 3, and lightweight was about it, you know, you could see. But Crawford has the skeleton, he has the body frame to put more weight on. But going up now, another one, to 168, not even 160, but to skip. I would prefer that he make it a catch weight, that he make Canelo come down a little bit, make it a catch weight.
Bernard Hopkins looked concerned for Terence Crawford, questioning his decisions. He stressed Crawford's well-being and its perks, asking what good the fight with Canelo.
Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo, fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo? What do that do for Canelo? I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic and makes sense and less life-risking.
Bernard further added, I have serious reservations about Crawford's choice to seek this fight with Canelo. It's a dangerous move, and I question the wisdom behind it. As someone who's been in the ring and knows the physical toll it takes, I worry about Crawford's well-being in a fight against someone like Canelo. What edge does this fight hold for Crawford? There are plenty of other potential matchups available that don't carry the same amount of risk. Bernard Hopkins says that he'd like to see Virgil Ortiz versus Terence Crawford instead of Crawford fighting Canelo after watching Crawford's performance against Madrimov.
Don't get fooled by what Crawford displayed last week and a half, but Crawford, to me, I believe, won the fight. I believe the fight could have won a draw, so you can't look at that fight and say that he's there for pickings, that his time is running out. We get up for certain fights at that level, and sometimes it can be not as good as the one that you got up for, which was Earl Spence. So I'm not fooled by what people might be saying about Crawford, whether it's time, whether it's not. Nah, I say he gets up for fights that he gets up for, and he at that age where it takes something super exciting to get excited about. I would like to see Virgil, based on Saturday, this Saturday, how he looks, how he executes, and how he wins. That it gives me a blueprint to see, yeah, he won, but will he win this way with Crawford?
Virgil Ortiz is a teacher. Robert Garcia thought Crawford's fight with Madoff was a very close fight, and it wasn't enough for Crawford to convince people into thinking that he could go up against Canelo at a much higher weight class. Garcia thinks that a fight against Ortiz would be better for Crawford. Robert stated maybe Crawford's performance was not good enough for people to expect him to do very well against Canelo, so maybe an Ortiz fight is a good idea. Paulie Malignaggi also tells Crawford to stay at 154 and fight the likes of Virgil Ortiz, Sebastian Fundora, and Tim Tszyu. While Crawford is not the physically strongest fighter at 154 lbs, Malaghi believes that his exceptional boxing IQ and skills allow him to compete with anyone in the division. However, he cautions that it is not without risk given Crawford's age of 36 and the highly competitive nature of the 154 PB division. Paulie stated Crawford's not necessarily the best of fighters at 154 lbs, but his IQ is so high that he can compete with anyone there, just not without risk. He's in a very tough class and he's 36 years old. The thought of him facing Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Sage Boachuk, or Madrimov again is very appealing. Jim Lampley said Crawford is too small for Canelo. After he beat Berlanga easily, Lampley addressed Crawford's fight against Madrimov and said that Crawford is not big enough.
What do you think about the fight now that you just witnessed Canelo Alvarez again in the masterclass performance?
I love Terence Crawford, and I want him to have what he wants. But off of what I saw tonight and what I saw in Los Angeles last month when Crawford was fighting Madrimov, I am more than ever concerned that he's not big enough, and not big enough to be able to move around the ring and muscle Canelo in the way that he would have to ward off those really vicious inside power shots.
Riley Romero thinks that Canelo will straight up kill Crawford if the fight ever happens. Bob Santos also thinks that it would be a step too far for Crawford if he meets Canelo. He stated, "I think it'll be a step too big for him, but he has earned the right to try it." I think Canelo would be too big and too strong for him at 168. I could be wrong. He could prove us wrong, but for the most part, I think that's just a lot to ask of Bud to go to 168. I may think it's a step too far, but that's what makes him great. That's why he was able to win at 135, 140, 147, and now 154, and he's been successful every single time, so he's at least earned that right. That's what makes him great. Carlos Adams, who sparred with Terence Crawford, thinks that Terence shouldn't be facing Canelo right now. He thinks that Canelo punches really hard, and it will be dangerous for Terence's fighting future.
Pienso que sí, ya que subir 3 divisiones bastante libre, demasiada yo diría. Pienso que no es algo que él lo necesita ahora mismo. Crawford en su carrera ha demostrado que es un buen peleador, pero pienso que no tiene que estar corriendo esos grandes riesgos, porque no solamente pone su carrera en riesgo, también pone su vida, porque un golpe de Canelo le puede hacer daño de por vida.
I don't think Crawford needs the Canelo fight right now. I think it's kind of needless for Crawford because his reputation is well cemented, and a punch by Canelo could not only be dangerous for him to lose the fight, but it could be dangerous for his life. So no need for Crawford to cross the line into such a heavy weight class.
Gracias, campeón. Thank you.
However, Andre Ward thinks that Terence Crawford is too good to bet against. He thinks that even if Crawford jumps 2 classes, he will give his all to beat Canelo.
I'm going with Terence Crawford, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years, I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat.
In the end, the chance of a Crawford versus Canelo fight hangs on many factors, from the weight class to the financial negotiations. If the business terms are right, the fight could happen, but the weight difference and physical advantages that Alvarez holds make it a tough job for Crawford. But fans want to see the fight, which could be one of the biggest in boxing history. As for who would win, views are divided, but one thing is certain. A matchup between these 2 fighters would grab the world's attention. So what are your thoughts about this situation? Do you want to see a Canelo-Crawford fight? Do let us know in the comment part below. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.